Elvis Aaron Presley is regarded as one of the most significant culture icons of the 20th century, often referred to as the king of rock and roll. Discovered in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1935, Elvis became famous for his up-tempo, rockabilly wild performance style, his love for beautiful women, and his infatuation with fine automobiles, of which he owned a great many during his illustrious lifetime and career. Since his death in August of 1977, many fans and purveyors have made claim to owning or purchasing an official Elvis Presley car. But if the number of unofficial Elvis cars tells us anything, it's that discovering a real one might be just as rare as discovering a performer as legendary as the king himself.
The reason I bring up Elvis, I got a lead on the Elvis car that I've been looking for.
This is right in front of the mansion.
Nobody knows anything about that car. The only evidence that it ever existed is that one black and white photo. But there's a famous story about Elvis going into Madison Cadillac and buying 5 cars, and they keep talking about 4 cars that he gave away. But they never talk about the 5th car. And that was back in September of 1974 that had happened, and that Cadillac is a 74. And that makes me think that that's the 5th car.
How do you know this is the Elvis Presley's car?
It's a station wagon, which Cadillac never made a station wagon. Somebody had to have that custom built. You had to have money to do that. So that's why I believe that is his car.
The boys have arrived in Oklahoma City, where they're set to meet with Megan Moore of Bob Moore Cadillac, who may hold the hot lead to Elvis's lost Cadillac station wagon.
We're here to look at some cars that you have, and possibly an Elvis Presley Cadillac. I heard rumors that you might know something about.
Well, we are the oldest Cadillac dealership in the area, and hopefully we can help you out and find something. I have a friend, Aaron Van Zant, who might be able to help you guys out. He collects, and he's got some interesting cars in his collection.
I'm looking for a particular Elvis car. It's a 1974 station wagon Cadillac.
No, Cadillac didn't make station wagons.
That's right. It was a Fleetwood that he had custom built into a station wagon for himself.
Well, it's entirely likely now that I think about it, because Mr. Van Zant, he's an older gentleman. I've heard him tell some stories about when Elvis would come through. I mean, he's got a hodgepodge of all kinds of stuff.
Is he known to sell, or is he a hoarder?
You know, it's like Mr. Moore always said, everything has a price.
Brian hopes that Aaron Van Zant will be the man to bring his search to an end.
Oh, you gentlemen look like you're doing all right.
Hi, you're Aaron?
Aaron Van Zant.
Hi, I'm Brian Grams from Volo.
Jay Grams.
Glad to meet you, Jay.
Nice to meet you.
Megan from Bob Moore Cadillac. She gave us your contact information.
I know the name, and, you know, she seemed to be a fair-speaking lady.
He's here to buy some cars, and I'm here to get an Elvis car.
I might be able to help both of you. You never know, you know.
You know, Jay already bought 2 Cadillacs. They say the 3rd time's the charm, so I know Elvis's Cadillac is here.
I'm gonna deal with somebody. I gotta play with them first, you know. You gotta show them the cat before you sell them the cow, you know.
This your office?
Office and the playhouse.
Man cave, pretty cool.
Hanging out in the Van Zant man cave is not what Brian had in mind, but he decides to play along.
Some neat stuff here. Any of it for sale?
Do an item or two, you know.
It's nice to bring Dad back a souvenir when we travel.
You know, I see a few things. This doodle bug right here, I know he loves these. They only made about 300 of these. They're back in 46 and 47. Funny thing is that's not for a kid and that's not for recreation. People just got out of the war and they needed cheap transportation, so they built these and you get about 100 miles to the gallon out of it. So that's what people would use to get to work.
Well, I've got 3 here. They're not really his class of car. What I've got is a good old boy's car, you know, to play with, to run the streets with. You don't hide these, you drive them.
A lot of them look like an Elvis car to me.
No, they're not. They're not quite Elvis's projects.
I guess, Ryan, we get back in the truck and we can go.
No. He said that he can help us both out. When we talked on the phone, you said you had an Elvis car and that you actually had some connections to Elvis.
Well, I done some warranty repair work for Elvis on a couple of his limos.
Did you go to Graceland to fix the car?
I went to Graceland, and of course, you know, the old story, you go in the service entrance and go to the shop, and that's the mechanic that takes care of all these vehicles.
Well, then you may have even worked on the car I'm looking for if you don't have it.
Well, we don't know. We just have to look at it and see. I got one little project outside that's an Elvis vehicle.
Okay.
If you want to take a look at that.
That's what I'm here for. Hoping to go home with an Elvis car. This
ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Man, this is not what I was looking for. Did Elvis actually own this? Or?
No, it was the military transport vehicle for Elvis while he was in the Army.
So it's a car that Elvis may have been in. You know, a lot of these Elvis cars, they have stories, but no documentation or paperwork to back it up. The car I'm looking for is a specific car, and I need to know that Elvis actually owned it.
Well, I've been kind of playing with you boys. I do have a true Elvis vehicle. I've owned it since '91. It don't hurt to show a few things.
You know, I've seen a lot of those Elvis cars that people say, oh, Elvis touched it, Elvis owned it. And there's more stories than the cars that he's ever owned.
Will this be just another unofficial Elvis car? Or does Mr. Van Zandt have something special hidden away for safekeeping? Mr. Van Zandt has been playing around all day, but he's now ready to show Brian what he came to see.
Yeah, she's covered up. We keep it tiny.
Is this a car or parts?
There's a car under here, and it looks pretty promising.
And here's our documentation.
But this is a '74 Cadillac. Not only is this Elvis's car, this is the one I've been searching for all these years. Is this the car that's under the cover?
That's the car. I've had the car since '91. It hadn't been lost. It's just been undercover, out of the weather, protected.
It may not have been lost to you, but it's been lost to the rest of the world. If this is the car under the cover here, I'm giving you a buttload of cash and a huge hug.
You can keep the hug. I'll take the buttload of cash.
Well, let's get this thing unloaded. Let's see the car. You know, Aaron, he was messing with me. He had me all shook up, but he redeemed himself. This is not rusty.
No, it's shinier than your head, Brian.
This still has the Tennessee sticker in the window from 1975, and it's got the Madison decal in the window from the Madison Cadillac.
Pink roof and pink pinstripe.
Elvis loved pink in the 50s and 60s, and they said in the 70s that white was Elvis's new pink. It's got the TCB logo by the keyhole.
This is amazing.
Only 8,300 miles on it.
Wow.
The lost car. We've unburied some treasure here. This is lost history that we found.
Finally, one of your goose chases paid off.
I'm telling you, rumors, you chase them and you will get them.
The only thing left for Brian to do is buy the car.
So, Aaron, what are you looking to get out of the car?
I paid $100 for it in '91, and I'm looking to double my money on it. I'll take $200.
$200,000 is fair to me. I mean, the car is probably not worth quite that much, but it's the history, and I want to get this out to the public so everybody can enjoy it. This isn't a car. This is a piece of Elvis history. People are going to come from all over the world to see this car. It's going to be a staple to our museum.
How about that truck out there, that Elvis truck? That's an Elvis item. Yes, I'm proud someone's getting it that's going to show it. Yet, no, I had it for so long, it just about become attachment item. I'm glad it's going somewhere where it can be appreciated and shown to the public, because I kept it hid.
Mr. Van Zandt even called in a special guest to make sure this is a day that Brian will never forget.
Well, what do you think of it?
It's groovy.
I was super excited to find not only was this Elvis's car, but it's the one I've been looking for all these years. Nobody's known where this car has been since 1977 at least. And turns out Aaron's had it here all along.